I have a few more folks joining us. Welcome. We're going to give this about 2 more minutes till 6:04 before we begin. So thank you for your patience. Thanks for joining us today. Really looking forward to this discussion and presentation with you. Okay, it's now 6:04. We have a couple attendees with us on Zoom. And we're also streaming live on YouTube and through the city's local channels, Channel 2 and Channel 99. So for all of you out there watching, welcome. My name is Otto Malara. I'm the project manager for the active transportation plan for the city of Riverbank. Today, we are having a community workshop where we want to share with you progress of the plan, where we are currently, and we also want to get your feedback on recommendations. We have with us from the city, Kathleen Cleek, who's the project manager from the city side. We also have my colleague from my team, Charlie Simpson, and also Lisa Shore, who will be participating as well. And we also have Norma Manriquez from the city. So let's go ahead and begin. So I just want to say welcome. And again, we are hosting this presentation on Zoom, as I'm sure a lot of you are very familiar with by now. We're also streaming it live on YouTube, on Channel 2 and Channel 99. And we will be recording this presentation and posting it on the website in case you want to look at it later. This is an interactive presentation, so if you have questions, feel free to raise your hand and use the chat function. We'll hold questions until the end of the presentation during Q&A, but I think given the number of attendees that we have today on Zoom, feel free to just chat the questions that you have directly in the chat window, which we will enable shortly, and that way you can communicate with us. Also, I did want to say, I'll mention again that this meeting is being recorded and posted online. In case you have any issues with that, you can continue to watch or come back at another time. Para la gente que habla español, yo puedo hablar español también. Yo los puedo tener sus preguntas en español durante el tiempo de chat, o si los quiero preguntar así en vivo, por favor, díganme las preguntas que tiene y vamos a poder comunicar así. All right, so let's kick this off. Today's agenda, like I said, is to go over this project. For many of you who may have not so familiar with it, I do want to provide a brief introduction as to what this project is. We'll then go over the existing conditions, meaning what have we learned so far about the city's active transportation plan. And then we'll jump into draft recommendations, which is really the bulk of what we want to get at today. We want to share with you our um, draft network for improving the bicycle and pedestrian experience in Riverbank. And then we'll go over next steps. So just as an introduction, the project schedule, this has been a project that started in December of 2019, right around December 2019 and early January 2020. And the project then began by understanding what the existing conditions are for the active transportation network in the city, meaning if you're a cyclist, if you're someone who walks to work or walks to school or takes the bus, what is your experience like? And how can we improve it? So that's really what we wanted to learn at that phase, in that early phase of the project. And when we first kicked off the project, we also spoke to the community through the website, through citizen advisory team meetings, which we'll describe later. So this is not the first time that we're coming to the community to understand and to hear out, what your concerns are or what your thoughts are on this project. Currently, we're in the recommendations phase, meaning that after we've learned everything from where's there a history of collisions for pedestrians and cyclists in the city? Where is it unsafe to cross? Where would citizens just like to have better facilities for biking and walking? We'll take that information and we're making recommendations, which basically means a list of projects that the city can then take in the future to improve the network over time. So this is a plan, and the plan really is to guide the city for the next decade, so that they can have a really clear vision for how to improve the bike and ped network. This is where we are now. We're kind of the tail end or the beginning, or I guess a middle to end of this phase. The next phase is going to be to write the draft plan. And this is where we take everything that we've learned, especially after this meeting and after hearing what citizens think about the recommendations that we've provided, and we put it into a plan. And then that plan becomes public. And it also becomes a way for the community to engage with the city on if there's anything that they feel the plan is missing. So there will always be opportunities to engage with the project. So in terms of the project vision, just at a high level, I just want to describe what is this project again, and what are we trying to achieve? And what we're trying to achieve is, we want to achieve a riverbank that envisions an environment and supports people of all ages and abilities so that they can comfortably and safely access jobs, schools, recreation, and shopping, basically all local destinations, either on foot or on bicycle, and have that be just a part of daily life. You shouldn't have to be a strong mega commuter or avid cyclist to just want to bike down the street to your local park. This project is really about making it comfortable and safe for people of all ages and abilities to want to walk and bike to the places that they access the most. So in terms of goals for the project, we have to start with safety and comfort. Safety and comfort are very important, because if the network or streets seem unsafe or they are unsafe, then not only will that disincentivize people from wanting to use the network, but it can also be dangerous. And ultimately, we want a network that's comfortable so that you don't have to make a very difficult decision to go down to walk to the store or take your to take your kids to the park on a bike. It should feel like a very comfortable experience. So that's one of the goals that we really want to achieve with this plan. The second goal is just having access to destinations. Riverbank is such really quaint, small community, and that there's a lot of local destinations that people have access to. And we want to make sure that from your home, you can get to the park, you can get to school, you can get to the store, or even to the bus, to the bus stop. So that's another goal. And then of course, health and affordability. Active transportation, whether it's walking or biking, it's a very active and healthy transportation choice. And not only that, in terms of air quality, the more people drive and the more people rely on vehicles, then the more unhealthy our air is. So providing other options for people to get to where they need to go, especially options that are sustainable, like walking, biking, and taking the bus, that's really beneficial to everyone. And of course, affordability is very important because oftentimes the people who use active transportation the most are the people who have no other choice. And so it's really important that we, not that we achieve these goals for all different walks of life throughout the city. And lastly, creating a vibrant public space is what is also a benefit and a goal of this plan, because if we build and we design streets that are safe and comfortable for everyone, now all of a sudden that street becomes vibrant, it becomes full of life, and it becomes a place that people want to experience and want to be around. And that really helps create that family-oriented environment that Riverbank really prides itself in. So let's go over existing conditions. And by the way, I'll just say, if anyone has any questions throughout this presentation, feel free to chat it in the chat window. So starting off with existing conditions, you see a lot of different types of bicycle facilities here. The ones that are not, or I guess I should say, the two that are highlighted, Class 2 bike lanes and just a shared use path, these are the facilities that the city currently has. You've probably seen your standard Class 2 bike lane. It's just really a painted lane on the road, and then your path. So think of the path near Jacob Myers Park or in the southern part of the city. These are facilities that the city already has that people can use as part of the bike network. So if we look at what's existing, this is how it looks like. The yellow lines are bike lanes on the street, and the green lines are the bike and pedestrian trails. So as you can tell, the kind of the crossroads area definitely has some bike facilities, but not really much more except for Klaus Road and a part of Patterson. So as we began looking at the network, we wanted to understand a few different things. We wanted to first understand, where is future development happening? We know that from working with the city, we know that the West Crossroads area has a special plan that the developer will be looking to implement. And we also know that there's future development happening on the east side. So whatever we come up with, we have to make sure that we are taking that into consideration and providing them also with guidance for what type of bike facilities and pedestrian facilities they should be implementing. The next thing we wanted to look at, and we think that is important, is regional connection. Riverbank is a city that's part of bigger network. You have Oakdale, you have Escalon, you have Modesto. These are all cities that are nearby and that provide a lot of connections to the residents of Riverbank. So whatever we do, we want to make sure that we're connecting people with those areas as well. Also, just the network quantity. I shared with you earlier what the bike network looks like, and it doesn't provide that much coverage. There's not that much quantity in terms of bike lanes. So just increasing the number of bike lanes, I think, will really help the city out. And last, but certainly not least, the safety aspect. So, we needed to look at where in Riverbank are there concerns with safety for pedestrians and for bicyclists. And those are areas that we want to make sure that we address throughout this plan. And the image that I'm sharing with you here actually just shows at a very high level where some of these collisions are over the past 5 years between 2014 and 2018. So we want to make sure that we're looking at these areas with a microscope and making sure that what we recommend will hopefully make those areas safer for everybody. So like I said before, this is not the first time that we're engaging with the public. We've actually held 2 citizen advisory team meetings in the past. And these are meetings that, as you can see down here at the bottom right, we have invited a really large group of citizens in Riverbank who wanted to be part of this plan from the beginning. We invited, I think, around 40 people, and so far, anywhere between 10 and 20 have showed up to our meetings. And this is where we discuss phases of the project, and we want to hear their thoughts and input, on what we're doing. So they're providing they're kind of walking us through some of the issues and concerns that we're seeing through the data, because it's really important that what we see through the data, we also understand from the human side. We want to understand what the residents and people who live here see as well, because you can't just do this plan or this type of project from a computer. We also presented to City Council, I believe late last year in 2020. And so that was to provide an update. And so at the end of this plan, we'll be returning to City Council and asking them to approve this plan and all the effort that went into it. Lastly, from the beginning of the project, we kicked off the website, walkbikeriverbank.com. If you go on there now, it's live and you can view it, you can access it, you can use the interactive web map, but it's basically our hub for this project. And for anyone who wants to give us any type of feedback or who wants to participate in the project. So far at the first phase of the project, we received 800 visits, 36 users, and 66 comments, which is really great for this city. And so the image that you're seeing here at the top right actually shows what that web map looks like and how people can give us their thoughts and can share with us, where they think, we should kind of focus on, what areas we should focus on throughout this project. So after all this, what did we learn from the Riverbank residents? After the website was launched, after we worked with the citizen advisory team, we kind of narrowed it down to 4 really key points that residents were really concerned about and wanted us to focus on this plan. The first was crosstown connections. Like I said, with the city so tight knit and so small, getting from one point of the city to the other is really important and should be comfortable and easy. So that's one thing that we really heard from the community. The other is that it should be a student-friendly city, meaning that students should be able to walk from their home or bike from their home to their elementary school, to middle school without a problem and without parents feeling concerned. The next is, just the pride in trails. The trail network is small, but it's growing, and it can provide a lot of really great connection to destinations. And so we heard that citizens really wanted to increase the number and access to trails. And then finally, connections to downtown were really important. Downtown right now is a really great, vibrant place. But unfortunately, a street like Atchison and a street like Patterson make it really difficult to get there if you are not using a car. So we wanted, making sure that connections from other neighborhoods to downtown are possible. So let's go over draft recommendations and what we are proposing now that we've learned all this. So this map actually shows the recommendations that we're proposing for this project. And like I said, these are projects that will guide the city for the next 10 years or so that they can slowly chip away at. But these are not official. These are just a draft, meaning that we need to hear from the community first before we write this into the plan. So there's still a lot of opportunity to work with the community, to hear your thoughts, and to change anything that needs to be changed. This was our educated, decision-making process in the making, but it's not done. We still have a lot to do in order to make sure that we're incorporating everyone's thoughts. So right now you can go on walkbikeriverbank.com and look at this map, but in a way that allows you to leave us comments. And we'll go over what that looks like in a couple minutes. So what exactly are you looking at here? You're looking at a lot of lines, and maybe you don't know what they mean. So to the right here, I've described what each line means. A green line is a trail. A yellow line is a bike lane. A light blue line is a buffered bike lane, which is basically a bike lane that actually has a painted buffer between yourself and vehicle traffic. The pink line is a bike route, which means that bicycles and vehicles can share the road, but there's no protection for bicycles. And a purple line is a bicycle boulevard. So similar to the bike route where you're sharing vehicles with the road, it's the same thing, except that this is a network that slows traffic down and really makes it inconvenient for vehicles to use a street. So if you look at Homewood Way or Novi Drive, those are routes that we recommended be bicycle boulevards. So what that means is vehicles would have to go slower, and we would install certain traffic calming devices to make it a slower moving street, and making it more appealing and more safe for bicycles to use. So we want to do this in locations where there just isn't space, to add a bike lane, or neighborhood streets that are already calm. That's where we want to install these type of bicycle boulevards. And then lastly, the Class 4 separated bikeway is, if anyone's ever been in Modesto and seen Klaus Road or 9th Street, I believe, a separated bikeway is basically, it's similar to a trail, but it's on the street. And there's an actual barrier between vehicles and bicyclists. And it's really nice because you have that level of protection. You're not riding in traffic. You have more than just a painted strip on the ground that's protecting you from vehicles. And so this is what they look like. And also these are the number of lanes that we're proposing be added. 8 additional bike lanes, 7 additional miles of trails, 3.5 miles of bicycle boulevards, 4.5 miles of buffered bike lanes, and 13 miles of separated bike lanes. Next, as part of this project, we're also recommending recommendations for pedestrians. What you're seeing right now on a map is a lot of different numbers and a lot of dots on places that we have made recommendations to improve conditions for pedestrians in that area. So if you go on the web map and you click on any of these, you can see exactly what that recommendation is. And you can leave us your comments. You can like it, you can dislike it, or you can leave another comment. And we'll go over what some of these are. But just kind of at a high, okay, so this is what the full network looks like. Lots of different improvements for the city to recommend in the future. Again, all of this is in draft form, so if you have any thoughts or concerns, we can make changes. So what are the types of recommendations we're recommending? A lot of high visibility crosswalks. So what you're seeing here is a very bright, high visibility crosswalk that makes it very visible to drivers where pedestrians are going to be crossing. Next are curb extensions. So as you look on this image, the curb actually extends out into the roadway. It's an extension of the sidewalk, and that has a couple of effects. One, it makes the crossing distance for pedestrians much shorter. So if you're a pedestrian, you don't have to cross an extra, maybe 12 feet. And that's really helpful, especially for elderly, who may be using walking devices. people in wheelchairs, people with strollers, or even small children. The other effect that it has is that it provides a lot more visibility to those who want to cross. So if you're waiting at the curb here, cars can see you better. You know, you're not hidden behind a tree, or you're not hidden behind a parked vehicle. And that makes cars, that gives them the ability to see you first and then stop. And then lastly, the narrowing effect, the fact that the street seems narrower, also makes vehicles drive slower within those areas. We've also recommended some raised crossings. So in certain areas, not along arterials or any of the major roadways, more along like near schools or in some of the more local, smaller streets, we can actually raise a crosswalk and have it act as a speed bump slash, walking path for people. So it has a similar effect as the curb extension. It allows pedestrians to be more visible to vehicles. It makes vehicles slow down. It creates, that traffic calming effect. And also rectangular rapid flashing beacons, also known as RRFBs. These are, the push button lights that you see where you push it, the light starts to flash. And, these are great along more collector roads or roads where there's just a little bit more high traffic volume. Because as a pedestrian, you want that assurance that vehicles will see you. And this does just that. It's a bright flashing light that tells everyone that someone is crossing. So those are just some of the recommendations that we're adding. There's definitely a lot more. So, we want you to tell us what you think. And, you can do so using the walkbikeriverbank.com website. We will have this open between March 22nd, which was this last Monday, and April 23rd. So this is the period when people can use the website and give us their thoughts. And I'm hearing that my audio is cutting in and out. So I'm just going to make sure that everyone can hear me. So the next thing we'll do is go over a demonstration of the website. And I want to introduce my colleague, Lisa Shore, who is going to describe and walk everyone through what the website looks like, just so you have a tutorial before we ask you to go in and use it. So with that, I'll kick it over to Lisa, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
All right, thank you, Otto, and hello, everyone. All right, I think you can all see my screen. So this is the homepage of the website that we've made for the plan. And again, you can get there if you go to walkbikeriverbank.com. It will take you here. And the first thing I wanted to point out is that our website, everything on our website is in both English and Spanish. So on the upper tab here on the left, you can toggle back and forth between whichever language works best for you. So when you go to the home page, you're greeted with a sort of an about blurb here. And if you scroll down, you've got a few options for getting involved with the planning process. The first one is my favorite one, the public input web map. And I'll go over how to use that in just a minute. But we also have a list of the community events, just like this one. So you can take a look at the schedule and see what else is on the horizon for the plan. And then we also have contact forms. So if you have any questions or comments or ideas, you can always drop us a message and we'll see it. All right, So I'm gonna launch our map in a new window, and you're greeted again with a page. We'll go ahead and get started. The map also has a Spanish option too, so you can choose whichever one works best for you. And yeah, the first thing I want to note, you're greeted with this map, and there's sort of a lot of lines and stuff going on. So we have a visual glossary, sort of like what Otto went over a few minutes ago, and you can always revert back to this if you need like a visual reminder of all these different bike classifications. We've got quite a few in California. So on the map, I'm gonna go ahead and open up the legend over here. This is really helpful. So we have solid lines and dashed lines, and then these green flags. The solid lines represent the existing bikeways in Riverbank. So we've got our bike lanes on Crawford, as well as some bike paths. The dashed lines are the bikeway projects that we're proposing in our draft recommendations. And these are really what we're excited about getting feedback from you on, so we can sort of dial those in and really sort of cater them to Riverbank's needs even further than we've already done. So each different color line here represents a different type of bike facility. And you can click on all of these, and a little label will come up and let you know what it is, and you can sort of zoom in and take a look at the expense. And so the lines represent sort of the bikeway facilities along the streets, and then these green flags are crossing improvements, or spot improvements, as we like to call them. So you can click on any of these, and you have some options. So you can agree, you can like it, you can dislike it, and then you can also add a more detailed comment if you have something further to say. So for example, let's see, maybe you really like that we're proposing a buffered bike lane, but you think it might do better on the next street over, or on like a similar parallel path. So you can add a comment there, and we'll see it, and we'll take that into account. All right, I think I covered everything. I'll pass it back to you, Otto, unless you have any questions.
All right, thank you, Lisa. So now I will share my screen again. Okay, yeah, thanks, Lisa. That was very helpful. And hopefully we can receive comments from community members through that website. The website also has a general contact form. In case you just want to leave us general comments, you can always, it's basically emailing us and letting us know what your thoughts are. So now that we're here, what are the next steps? You know, the public review period is very important, and this is definitely the next step that we want to take into consideration. That's going to be all of April, where we will be, watching comments come in through this workshop, through the web portal, and through other meetings. After that, what we will do is prioritize projects. So what that means is we basically rank projects according to not necessarily their level of importance, but how and when the city should consider building them. Maybe there's a grant opportunity for a project that looks just like one that we're proposing. Making sure that the city is aligned to receive proper funding and all of that for that project. Or for example, maybe there's a project already underway in the future, and our project in the city can kind of just be a part of that. So really looking at, are a roadmap for when to install and construct a lot of these projects. That's the next phase in May. After that, we will write the plan and in a draft form and work with the city and with citizens on drafting that plan, putting everything into a document. That document will then go to City Council, and we will basically ask City Council for their approval so that this plan can be part of the city's future, and so that you know, projects will be pulled from this document, that, you know, this be a guiding document for the future of biking and walking in Riverbank. And the most important thing, what can you do? You know, how can you help? First of all, it's to use the web map, just like Lisa showed you, using that web map, especially during a time like this where social distancing has really, you know, made it difficult for us to connect with people, you know, in person. Using the website at the comfort of your own home, whether it's on your iPad or on your computer, that's definitely the first thing that you can do, and to let us know if the recommendations that we've made are accurate, or if they need to be, you know, fixed or modified. Of course, you know, telling us your thoughts through the website, or even through just the general comment function on the website. Also, that's very helpful. And then lastly, telling your friends and family about this project. You know, Riverbank is a really small community, and we feel that a lot of these projects can really help benefit everyone's lives in the city. So, you know, don't be afraid to share this website or share this project information with your friends, your family, your coworkers. Let them know what's going on, because it's important that we hear from you. And of course, you can access everything that we just discussed on walkbikeriverbank.com. After this recording, we will post this recording on the website. So if you missed it, or if you want to tell your friend to just look at what we explained, they can go on this website and look at a recording of this presentation. So with that, if you have any questions, feel free to chat us or to use your audio video to let us know. We are here and standing by to answer anything you have. If we don't hear anything, we can also see if anything's coming through the chat function. So with that, I'm going to ask my colleague Charlie to see if we've received any questions through the chat window that I can answer.
Hi, everyone. As Otto introduced me, my name's Charlie, and we have one question that came in so far, and it is Richard, who is concerned about secure bike parking. So feeling, you know, confident that when you park your bike or stroller somewhere, that it will be safe there for when you run your errands and go places.
Yeah, thanks, Charlie. So Richard, thank you for that comment. That's definitely something that you know, can be part of this plan. And what I think what you're trying to get at is secure bicycle or stroller parking at destinations, and how that's important, and that there be security around that. So, you know, one thing that we can do with this plan is provide some tools and some design examples on types of, you know, I guess like best practices for bike parking. There's a lot of different bike parking out there. And, you know, now I think over the years it's gotten, bike parking's gotten a lot more innovative. And security has become increasingly a bigger issue because, you know, bike theft and vandalism is an issue for every city. And so I think for this plan, what we can do is when we write the draft plan, we can definitely address that and add a section on, you know, what is secure bike parking. Of course, if there are areas where you think or you have heard of that have bike parking safety concerns, definitely let us know. And then we can, you know, we can put that as a recommendation from the beginning. So thank you, Richard. I'm also looking at Richard's chat, and another part of his chat said, if local funds can be used to provide security for bikes and strollers at destinations, that would be interesting to see if StanCog would live up to this sustainable strategy. And that's a great point, because basically what Richard is describing is that there are funds not only at the local level, so basically not only from Riverbank, but from StanCog, from the state, you know, like a lot of different grant funds that can be made for projects in Riverbank, you know, that can help implement and construct this. And so at the end of this, at the end of this process, and what the draft plan will also do is, like I said, provide the city with that roadmap of which projects they can construct sooner rather than later, but also what are the funding streams available. So we're providing a breakdown of the types of funds that are available for projects like this, for specific projects. So, you know, sometimes there's different funding measures for school related projects versus, you know, transportation only projects, for example. So we will provide the city with a very descriptive breakdown of which projects fall into which category, and that can help them go after StanCog funds like Richard described, or any other funds that are available through the state, through the federal government, or through other local measures. Another question we just received are if bike shelters or bike lockers are an option at specific locations. Great question. So we do not have a inventory of bike shelters or bike lockers for this project. So we don't exactly know where everything is. You know, I think for the city of Riverbank, it's not a project that is, or a program that's managed by the city. It's more about working with, you know, business owners or real estate owners of those destinations, and providing them with guidance on the best type of bike shelters or bike lockers. And we can provide what those options are in this plan as well. I don't have any other questions coming in besides that. And we are, you know, it's 6:46 right now, so we have 15 minutes left. If there aren't any other questions, like I said, this recording, this presentation will be posted on the website, walkbikeriverbank.com. Everything is translated in Spanish on the website. If you need to reach out to any of us directly, you can do so on the website as well. And, you know, this won't be the last time that we speak. You know, we still have a few more meetings with one more meeting with the citizen advisory team, and going to council as well. And then, you know, we'll be posting what we've learned from the community about our recommendations at the end of April. But definitely stay tuned to the website. where we'll be posting any updates that we have on the project. I know that Norma from the city is working really hard and has done just an amazing job of pushing this information out to the community. So we really appreciate that. Definitely stay tuned. And if you receive any kind of flyers or social media information about this project, again, share it with your friends and family, because we really value the opinions and thoughts of the Riverbank citizens for this project. So I don't see any other questions coming in. So I think with that, we can close up early. Oh, Anthony Little just asked a question. When will this video be posted? Great question. We can post this as early as, I believe, tomorrow. Actually, let me ask our IT. Yep, we can have this video posted tomorrow on the website. Thanks, Anthony. Okay. Well, thank you all for joining us today. I hope that this has been helpful and insightful. Again, if you did miss this, fear not, go to the website and give us your thoughts. But again, thank you for taking your time. I know everyone's busy. It's a Thursday evening. But again, we appreciate you being part of this plan and really helping us make Riverbank safe and comfortable for all citizens, especially those who walk, bike, take transit, use strollers, use mobility devices. This project and the goal for this project is really to make Riverbank a better place for all citizens. So we thank you for your time, and we will chat again. Thank you very much. Have a great night.